Hey, Julaluk, thank you for coming in. You have such a marvelous career from your early education in information systems to your master's in information technology to your PhD in information technology and your academic career with the science of Faculty of Science and Technology, RMUTT, and as a assistant professor, and your research interests in multimedia and data warehousing and knowledge management and data mining and competency-based education to inclusive education and things like people with disabilities and your publication, numerous research publications, your Teaching Innovation Award, second place, first runner-up at STEM education, research projects to support competency for people in school, sixth grade students to things like, again, research projects on disabilities and things like that, award in teaching excellence. I mean, really a series of research projects on disabilities and things like that. Again, an active award, active learning presenter, first place award, outstanding active STEM instructor, award, knowledge management, first prize. I mean, research project again, industry research collaboration, teaching honor, selected as exemplary teacher and teaching to National Education Award, to you're appointed as assistant dean in the Faculty of Science, major funded projects, develop a robotics programming curriculum, the international teaching certification, senior fellow status, the UK professional standards framework. Again and again, just so many different outstanding developments, and we're going to go through that. We're going to step through that. So thank you again for coming in and sharing your expertise with my audience.
Yes, for me, I would like to say thank you very much for your uh, invitation. Is for my field, I really exciting for this interview, but I am happy to share my experience. Yes.
Okay, so Julia, look, as I mentioned, you have this really marvelous background. But what were, three inflection points in your life that made this wonderful person you are today? And it could have been when you were 3 or 5 or 10 years old, something that happened in the family. Maybe it was your parents or an uncle, or it could have been an early teacher. It could have been some challenge you had or difficulty, or it could have been opportunities, and or could have been something like an early job to, or things that a teacher, perhaps a good mentor, and then maybe later something that happened in college to the work you're doing. But what were the three defining points in your life that made this wonderful person you are today?
For my key points defined for me, I'm a bit, I have the I have the inspiration to develop ourselves and develop my student because I believe in person must have the develop and must have the uh, competency skill in that in inside. So if we have the good competency, they will do anything and they will understand and learn anymore and they will become the good personality in the future too. That I believe like that. This
So,
is
when you were a young person, did you have a teacher that inspired you? What inspired you to have an interest in science and technology? Were you a tinkerer as a child? Things like that.
yes. Actually, I get my inspiration from my father and my mother because my father, when I was young, he still to teach me. He looked like the first teacher in my life, and he is the engineer in his work. Yes, and my mom, she is the teacher with the vocational college.
Ah,
But yes, it look like one person is different style and another person is different style. It will be uh, combined and teach me to do anything with the good practice and with the real world to solving and understand the anything. So I need to study in science and become to the teacher in this day. Yes, is that my um inspired? Yes,
I see. So part of your inspiration in your early life was your father, who was an engineer and
yes,
had that kind of background, and your mother was in a vocational training and things like that. So you saw the two different perspectives, and then I can see how that can open your perspective on the work you do with people with disabilities and technology, and yet you would have the technical side from your father. So in early school, then were you really interested in like the different science and math and technology courses? Did you have other interests like poetry or music or things like that?
yes. Because when I was young, I go to anyway with my father. He bring me to joy with his work and
Ah,
have bring me to the location work of him outside. Yes, I example like the building or the anything that I go to anywhere. And I like to learn with him because he teach me with his the real the real situation, with the real building, with the real environment. So I is look like to focusing like that too. And but my mom, she look like the trainer in the class is different style. I think when I was young, I have the idea is it possible if I matching with my father's style and my mother's style to combine together. It will be make the motivation to learning and learner to be the 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 good the good theory in some. Yes, because I think if we learn like the traditional style with say my mom, I think it's very boring, boring, yes. And it's not have the understand from the inside. That is my father. He's the good guy to make me inspiration to be like this. Yes.
I see. So your father would take you on the job and things like that, so you learn a lot of the practical aspects, but your mom would give you the broader perspective, right? Because of the work she did. And then so that inspired you when you were in your early grades, and you then end up you get a BBA in information systems, right? And then you get a master's in science and information technology, and then a PhD in information technology focused on IT and knowledge management. Is that correct? From kind of the late 90s to about 2010, or did I get that wrong?
Uh, yes. In the then I become to study in the IT when about graduate from this IT because my father he talking with me if you in if I need to be the good technical from the job, or need to make the opportunity with the job, they focus me to study in the information technology, because it can be, he know is have the new trend in the previously, and is the good job in the future for my life too. And I think is that correct? Yes. So now I focus this way to uh, make me to to study. Sorry, I cannot hear you.
So can you talk about when you decided to join the Faculty of Science and Technology and why and how that has how your academic career has progressed?
That is I have a little bit story before I decide to study in this major. Actually, I need to study in the uh, in the food side, and to cooking, not for food side, sorry, is a cooking. But my mom, she said no, it's not good, and my father said like that too, it's not good for my job in the future. He said like that, and he introduced me to use the game, introduced me to use the electric something, the music electric something. Yes, and teach me and make the idea with me. Do you think if you study in the computer in the future, you can make it, and you can uh, help or control and create the game in the future? So is that me? Need to I try to study to design, to study in information technology. This is the first thing that I make the focus to the programming. But I I have the question in my mind in every day, because I think the programming is not happy when I study. The only programming is not happy when I study in this major, in this course, because it's a bit too confused, and it cannot talk with the people, and it cannot develop develop the person. So now, so that I need to use the computer and technology, apply with the or apply or uh, solve the problem with the authors author person, with the author. Yes, and need to make uh, need to make anything out of the framework. But because I believe technology can help the people, and can do anything if we understand the computer. Yes, is that my focus to study in this subject, and in this major? Yes.
I see. So initially, you had an interest in food science,
Yes.
but your mother said and your dad said um, information technology and computers, games and things like that would be a better focus. And they convinced you to get into information technology.
Yes, they convince me. Yes,
They
because
convinced.
my father buy the game for me and buy the computer to convince me to look like to change my idea, and and make it inspire for me. Do you think how you think if you can do this, you can be the professional with the program and with the games, and you can create the game by yourself. He say like that. That is the first place that he talking with me. Yes.
Right. And then, okay, so that's how you got, so describe, um, you studied information systems, right? And
Yes.
inf and information technology,
Yes.
and
And
you
information.
got
Info, yes.
a PhD in information technology.
Yes, I got the PhD in information technology for the bachelor degree. Bachelor degree, I'm from the information system. And for the master degree, I study in uh, information technology too. Yes. And for the PhD, I continue to study in information technology too. Yes.
Yeah, so that's quite a change from food science. Right.
Mhm. Yes, because my mom, she said, you can cooking by yourself, so you don't study in the food side.
Right. And so they got you a computer and they got you interested in gaming to try to convince you to get into computers and information technology.
Uh, for the game, uh, that I forgot to before for the first step, I forgot to play the game only.
Right.
But I but I love the one games and love the how to say and how to play. Yes, what the one game really really much. And I think if I can create the one game or do do the one program or create modify the one program, I can I can it can help me to make the work is really fast. And I see my job of my father. He have the problem with the manage with the manage look like the his work with the employee. And I think if but because he don't know the program how to manage the people and how to manage the schedule of his work because he writing on the paper only. I think if I use the program and if I can do the computer, I can help him. And actually, he needs some help too from from us because in the last when I was young, in that time the computer and the program is not famous same this time. Yes, so he not have the guy to help him to do. Is that one of my uh, motivation to make the program to help him too. Yes.
Yeah, so can you describe now your journey with RMUTT? So can you describe your academic and professional journey path with RMUTT?
The RMUTT, previously, I worked in the Sundusit University first, about after I graduated from the PhD and worked in Sundusit about 5 or 8 years. And then I applied to RMUTT to work in the computer science. And I think this university is matching with my style because RMUTT we focus on the hands-on technology more than study in the class, and they uh, they have they open my opportunity to know about the STEM education, and they have the give the good opportunity for me too um, with the research with uh, with the partnership with the foreigner, yes, and the partnership with in the industry too, yes. So now that I decide to become the one of lecturer in RMUTT.
So RMUTT, they are a practical university. They're very hands-on, right?
Yes.
Which fits well with how you want to work with students. There's a STEM aspect of it as well. So you joined and became a lecturer, and then you rose to being an assistant professor, and then since then you know you've taken on more and more paths within RMUTT, right? It's very practically focused, which is very aligned with you. So, what are your research interests at RMUTT?
For my research that I focus in RMUTT, the first thing I start to study with the competency because I believe in every person can develop the performance, but how to develop. So I will start to research in the small research in my class to focus with the competency of my student in my class, and then I apply my interesting in my class with the bigger research, the bigger research from the ability person in Thai, and I focus with the competency of them too, because I believe uh, every person can work and every person can do it, develop, and they can help the organization to do. They have the performance. I believe like that. So it's become to my research in RMUTT.
So, in RMUTT, you developed expertise in multimedia systems and data warehousing, expanding later to knowledge management, data mining, but particularly your strong interest is competency-based education and inclusive IT for people with disabilities. Is that correct? Did I capture that correctly?
Yes, it's correct.
And so you've been doing publishing research in things like knowledge maps and data mining, and to help predict IT career paths with people with disabilities. And your publications have covered things like STEAM education, educational data mining, information retrieval, assistive technologies, and contributing to these kinds of areas. Is that correct?
Yes, I for my research and publish is my paper. I'm focusing with the different person's disability and start with my start student in my class and uh, research and move to persons with disability for the accommodation and prove uh, the human capital they can uh, how to say they can work and the organize or industry when they accept this person become the employee in the organize, it will be help them to prove their performance too. So it's become to my research start with the data mining and the multimedia because one of time that I correct the data from the person with disability is have the very surprise with my team research because uh, when we looking him we not believe he can do it but that one person he is the blind vision uh, he like to be the programmer and he can coding the program with my under my research and I prove this to the research to told with the higher and with the fundamental with the blind and he and now he can make the income by themselves. So is the the small the small but it make me uh impression. Yes, and it can help him to have the income to pay and to take care his family too. Yes. And is that I would like to say about a little bit is that is a look like is my experience to talking with my student in my class to make the motivation of them to understand and not focus with the only the theory but must uh, analyze must understand the everything and learn it by the hands-on apply with the problem. It will be help them to understand too. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's remarkable. People with disabilities, you're able to get them to learn, excuse me, and then also get jobs and you know, you're a pioneer in this area. And you won a teaching innovation award in a national teaching contest, placing first to run up, second place. Is that correct? For STEM education and STEM teaching practices, recognizing your early contributions to STEM pedagogy. So you got recognition, national recognition. Did I get that correctly?
I think for the first step, I think I is not accept in the first time. I will use about the time about to make the practice with the STEM education more than 3 or 5 years to prove my our technique. in my class, uh, because we have the is a new education. STEM education is a new teaching in Thailand. And in Thailand, they think STEM education is must be start with the children, not matching in the higher education. But for my opinion, because I received the style from my father with the hands-on and my mom too, I think the STEM education is must be start in every person inside if they know about the lesson of each and know theory. After that, if we can mix it together, you will be the student or me will be the have the critical thinking and can solve the problem in the real world. So I bring this technique to try to teach with my student in my class and make the activity in the trainer activity too.
Yeah, I mean, you led the development of information systems to support competency-based learning for sixth grade students and created
Oh,
tools to enhance primary student competencies in line with education reform. You were pioneering that. You also served as principal investigator for a multi-year project to develop a competency assessment and identification system for students with disabilities, to create tools for evaluating and improving the skills of disabled learners. So this is your work, pioneering work. And then you were the winner of the Teaching Innovation Award for active learning in STEM, placing first place for implementing an active learning STEM educational model. So you were a pioneer. Did I get that correct?
yes, it's correct. But that is your is correct because it's difficult for me. Then I explain. But is that you say I do like that? Yes.
Yeah, and in fact,
Um.
yeah, and in fact, you led the Disabilities Education Project, expanding and
Yes.
implementing the competency assessment systems for students with disabilities, scaling the
Yes.
tools and introduce qualified disabled students into the labor
Yes.
market. So you did that.
Mhm.
That's remarkable.
Yes. Yes. Thank you very much. But actually, I have the actually in my point in my life, if I have the power and if I have the budget more than this, uh, I need to analyze the student have the competency like that too. Because in my research with the person with disability, I have the is a successful, very successful because I join the results of this research with the industry and or in the company in Thai. And when they looking for when they finding the performance matching with the person with disability, they can choose in my system. But that I said too, in my inspiration in the future, if I have the power, I need to do this project look like the program to analyze the student in Thai have the with the competency, and they will know inside of them competency. If they know first, they can then they have the short time to understand with themselves, and they can choose to be to learn in the future and should that and don't and want to be in the job in the future too. Because in my mind, when I have the become to here, when I was young, become to now, I spend the time about 15 years or maybe 20 years that I know my style. Because before that, I need to study with the food side. But actually now it's I don't want to study in food side. But I waiting for my mom and my father focus me. You must study here. You must study this major. It will be good in the future. But I think if my research can develop this and help the student to know by themselves when they young, they can should be uh, the study by themselves and the know of them competency to be, yes, and develop what the competency if they want to be the doctor, what the competency they don't have, they will be developed this to be the that we want to do to be in the future. Yes.
Yeah, I mean it's quite remarkable. I mean, because you went from phase one of disabilities research to phase two, focusing on expanding and implementing the competency system for students with disabilities, scaling the tools, introducing qualified disabled students into the labor market, and then you went and did phase three of
Mm-hmm.
this project for disabilities. And that's the
Yes.
final phase. And you developed a competency assessment system and presented high potential disabled learners to the job market, ensuring that
Mm-hmm.
the
Yes.
project outcomes benefited real participants. And then you continue to produce research in data analytics and education technologies, publishing a comparative study of data mining techniques for educational career prediction, and even co-authored a paper on restaurant management platform for entrepreneurs during
Yes.
the post-COVID near normal. And you've led a collaborative R&D project applying embedded systems in IoT. And so this is now going on into things like automotive parts manufacturing. And
Yes.
this project integrated embedded computing and Internet of Things into auto parts production. So bridging your roles between academia and industry. But what's happened is because of your work, um, you received the first place award as outstanding active learning instructor for demonstrating exemplary teaching methods at a national STEM forum. You received the award first prize knowledge management competition for as a top contributor to instructional knowledge management. You also received a teaching honor as exemplary teacher and teaching, um, and you won a national education award, the Mahidol Science Innovator Educator Award the national award honored your pioneering and innovative contributions to science education, particularly in the category of learning activity development. And you've now gone into things like administrative roles, appointed as Assistant Dean of the Faculty of Science and Technology, where you can support faculty management and planning while continuing to teach. And you're officially listed amongst the faculty's executive team. That's in 2024 and 2025. And last year, uh, you're involved in a major funded project to develop a robotics programming curriculum, an e-learning platform for Thai youth aimed at building future workforce skills. And this is funded by the Thailand's Digital Economy Promotion Fund, and you're the project director. Did I miss anything? Is that correct?
Uh, I'm a chair in the international program, and um, I am I work with the 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 foreigner partner from China, and um, we have the international collaboration in Asia Pacific region, where diversity scales and rapid growth exercise through the Thai-China partnership and regional in initiative. I have seen how shared learning and co-development can accelerate innovation, student experience, and stranger region competitive. Yes.
And last year, you received international teaching certification, right? And senior fellow
Yes.
status with the
Yes.
Higher Education UK Professional Standards Framework for Higher Education, right?
Yes.
As a
Yes.
senior fellow for excellence in teaching and learning support, aligning with UK, United Kingdom professional teaching standards. Is that right?
Yes. I am the look like the trainer in RMUTT too, because after I received that the UKPSF is can be help me to be the mentor in RMUTT. Now in our RMUTT, we will modify the framework like that the UKPSF2 that we call RMUTT and am uh, am a one of team to mentor them and enhance or lecturer to be to get that the certificate too. And now we have the lecturer to get UKPSF about 15% already. Yes, is it and now we extend to use this framework with the other MUTT. Sorry, with the other RMUT, with the nine RMUT. We have nine university in RMUT. Yes. And
I
now
mean, it's
we are the center.
yeah. I mean, it's just remarkable, and so I'm down to the last few minutes, maybe 3 or 4 minutes of the interview. You're continuing your work as assistant professor in computing science, an assistant dean, RMUTT's Faculty of Science and Technology. You're still actively teaching undergraduate and graduate courses, pursuing research in your areas of knowledge management, data analytics, STEAM education, and assistive technology, collaborating on projects that improve STEM education and inclusivity in Thailand. And you're expanding on that work. So, some questions just in the final minutes. What is your goal by 2030? Well, give me 2 or 3 goals or more right, by 2030. So that's the first question. And then second question is, what recommendations do you want to leave the audience? So first question, what are your goals for 2030? And how can the world help you? Because now you have a platform where you can speak to the world through the interview. What do you need to continue your work? What are your goals? And then what recommendations you want to leave the audience, which actually could be part of the same answer as well.
Wow, this question is really interesting and is the big goal for me. Um, for my goal is to develop future ready student because now I'm a teacher in our program who can lead with the digital transformation responsibility. I am to integrate technology, innovation, and management in higher education to create the real society impact. And sorry, what the second topic that you want
What recommend?
to
Oh, okay, so what recommendation do you want to leave the audience, and how can the audience help you?
how to the audience? Mm, uh, how to say? Um, for my opinion, uh, if for the please do it by yourself from inside. If you do anything by your skill and your performance with the competency, you can understanding who the what they need and anything you can need. And then I introduce the topic is a simple and reliable way using the real exam that connect to their experience. Yeah.
So, Professor, thank you for coming in. I really enjoyed this conversation with you. Your work is really remarkable. It's outstanding. I'm hoping that my audience within the ACM, Association of Computing Machinery, and IEEE, and my audience of CEOs and investors will hear your pioneering work and will support it. Perhaps they can provide grants, provide assistance, funding, because it's remarkable work. Perhaps my audience and the big companies out there can be a partner of yours and provide grants and technical support and technology support for the work you're doing. So, Professor Julaluk, thank you for coming in. and sharing your expertise with my audience. It's been an honor to hear your work.
Yeah, thank you very much. Is my first time for introduce and actually my English is not my the first language, but I will try because and I can help you and I can um, share my opinion and my experience with the people. If you want to need something help from me, you can contact me. I will open and I will receive your message. Yes.
Okay, thank you again for coming in. And it's actually in the evening, I think, in Thailand right now. It's early morning here, but it's evening. So thank you again for coming in.
ค่ะโอเค thank you ค่ะสวัสดีค่ะ
Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.